Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is pro-gun. China slaps tariffs on Canada. And LA mayor is caught deleting emails after her fire disaster. This is The Loaded Mic, and I'm Dan Watt. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis almost sounds like a Second Amendment advocate. Now, DeSantis has recently made it publicly known that he supports gun rights and is encouraging the Florida state legislature to get on board with the Constitution. Now, although Florida is a state that we consider to be constitutionally correct or close to it, it still has some issues with respect to gun laws, and Governor Ron DeSantis wants to change that. DeSantis has recently spoken out publicly regarding three major concerns surrounding Second Amendment rights. Now, the first one is the idea that anyone over the age of 18 should have full Second Amendment rights. The idea here is that if you're legally able and sometimes bound by the government to fight in a war, defending your country, and use firearms on the battlefield to do it, you should be considered an adult and have full access to firearms under your Second Amendment constitutional right as a civilian. DeSantis also talks about open carry being an accepted practice in the state of Florida. Now, currently, concealed carry is required, and open carry is not allowed. It would appear Governor DeSantis would like to change that. The governor also talks about red flag laws and explains how these unconstitutional laws not only violate a person's Second Amendment right by removing the ability of them to keep and bear, but also violates the Fourth Amendment by allowing unreasonable searches and seizures, and the 14th Amendment by depriving a person of their due process rights. Now, it would appear Governor DeSantis would like to see red flag laws abolished. For more Second Amendment content, please check out my Good Gun, Bad Guy book series at goodgunbadguy.com. We're going to talk about this and many other things with, he doesn't antagonize people on social media, he simply points out their flaws. John Chiara. And for the safety of others, he's no longer allowed to own a computer. Anthony Diso.
Should be that
guy. I don't know who's coming up with these things.
Yeah, I wonder who.
All right, so welcome to the show. What I want to do is get your guys' opinion on Governor DeSantis. The three things I'll go back and just mention them. 18 and over, you should, if you're able to. Right. What are your thoughts on that?
It seems logical to me. Yeah. That's always, has that not been the case?
No, in a lot of cases, it's not. I mean, certain things you can't, and especially in some states, you have to be 21.
So in New York, can you get a gun at 18?
You can't carry. Yeah, you can't carry a handgun. You have to be 21.
What? Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
It's like booze.
Learn something every day. Drive a car.
The other one was, you can go to war. That's the thing. You can die.
You can be drafted. Right?
Yeah, you can be drafted. And drafted is a mandatory.
That stuff's always been inconsistent between the drinking age and all that stuff. That's been crazy. Yeah, I agree.
The other thing was open or concealed. There's always an argument on this, even among gun owners. Gun owners will say, well, I like to keep it concealed so nobody knows, because if you have your gun on you, you become the first target to the bad guys. And other people, the other side of the argument says, no, if I have a gun in plain sight, people are typically not going to start trouble.
Well, it should be your choice, right? I mean, that's the ultimate.
Well, the only reason that's mandatory concealed carry is because we don't want to scare the liberals.
Mm-hmm.
And they started out with swatting, which was they'd see a gun in public and they'd just call the cops, regardless of knowing what the whole story behind the gun was. So swatting turns into red flag laws, turns into legislation and stuff like that. But now, in some states, if a liberal will see a gun, they'll instantly just call the cops.
Now I'll talk about irrational fear that we've programmed people to have, right? Because that person carrying the gun is probably the last person in the whole room that would ever be shooting anybody, ever, statistically.
Yeah.
So weird.
Brainwashing.
But it is. It's brainwashing. It's a fear component that's been instilled and conditioned into society. And that's why it's different in Texas. It's different in some states, you know, the Dakotas or wherever. Well, see, Vermont's weird. We talked about Vermont last week.
I know.
And yeah, Vermont is a constitutional carry state, but like Anthony said, there's a lot of tree huggers there, a lot of granola eating soy boys.
Bernie
Beta
Sanders.
boys.
Yeah.
Bernie. What a...
The other one is what was the other one? Oh, red flag laws. Yeah.
Right.
So you can be accused of being a risk to society. Anybody can accuse you, and a judge can sign off and say, okay, well, it makes sense. Okay, let's go get his guns and we'll figure it out.
We'll take his guns first, then we'll figure
Take the guns first. So it's a violation of not only your Second Amendment right, which is obvious, your Fourth Amendment right, which is secured in your belongings, you're secured in your possessions. Illegal. That's a illegal search and seizure. And then there's the whole due process aspect in the 14th Amendment that it violates. So you're violating three constitutional rights.
Speaking of which, to draw a parallel, I've been trying for the past week to have one person who accuses Trump of destroying democracy and destroying the Constitution to give me an example of some constitutional aspect of his administration that's going against Constitution. What I haven't found anything. No. I mean, what are they talking about?
They don't know what they're talking about.
They just keep saying stuff
Because they're so used to their government officials being useless turds. What did Joe Biden do in the 4 years? Because they keep saying that he's been the best president ever. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
He ate some ice cream. Took 600 days off.
I said, so what? Tell him, and I tell him, I say, listen, that's like, yeah, what's his name from Hooba-Doobu?
Who?
You know,
What?
I can't say their name. I don't want to throw them on.
Oh, I know
you know who I'm talking about.
A musician who had some political views.
Ken with his wife Barbie.
Wow.
He just comes up with this stuff. He just says, "Oh, Joe was the best." I'm like, "Best at what?"
Yeah, falling upstairs.
Then he comes up with this list of things that made no sense at all. I'm like, "That all happened under Joe, dum dum."
That's the funny thing about it.
It's just basic scumbag.
There's so much. There's so much propaganda that the left throws out that nobody knows what's true anymore.
What's that word?
Scumbaggery.
It's everywhere on the internet. I've seen it like 4 times this week. Great.
I swear to
shows you how
God,
much pull
Anthony
we
is
have.
going to create the terms of the country, of the world.
No, we should trademark that.
Yeah, scumbag.
Make shirts.
Make
shirts and
shirts.
hats.
Well,
Koozies.
we got the first hashtag on it, so I made sure to hashtag it. So we have the first hashtag on the word scumbaggetry. I want to get back to DeSantis here real quick. I know we have a clip of DeSantis. Can we run that clip?
For it. And here's what I know. If you talk to most gun owners, very few gun owners will actually open carry. They just want to know that they can. It's a constitutional right, and they want to know they can exercise their constitutional right. So I'm for open carry. I'm also, and I called in the speech to reevaluate some of the recent legislation, which predated me as governor, but things like, if you look at this red flag law that was passed, you can go in, they can go in and say, this person's a danger, they should have their firearms taken away, which is property in addition to being something connected with a constitutional right. And then the burden shifts where you have to prove to a court that you are not a menace or a threat. That's not the way due process works. The burden's always on the government, yet they've shifted the burden for doing that. The reality is this is not something that's been adjudicated all the way up to a court of last resort, but I think it's a huge, and I posed it at the time because I think it's a huge due process violation. And then you also have the issue of they've taken away the rights of young adults to purchase a long gun. So you can have somebody that's a Marine, they can get dumped in someplace in the Middle East carrying a rifle around, defending the country, and then they come home and they can't even buy a rifle to go hunt. That just doesn't make sense. I mean, are you an adult or not? And I think that was something that was problematic. So those are things that a lot of us have been talking about for a long time. I don't know what the legislature is going to do in those respects, but I can tell you that we, in spite of us saying we're the free state, in spite of us being like, oh, we're this Republican bastion, conservative bastion, we've definitely lagged on that issue compared. Now, we've done some good things since I've been governor here or there, and I'm happy to sign some of that legislation, but nothing really transformational.
So I want to talk about DeSantis, but first I want to get to one of our sponsors real quick. You want to know who's fighting for your gun rights? Gun Owners of America. Now, GOA is the no compromise gun rights group, and I urge you to become a member at gunowners.org. What have they done? Well, GOA secured a preliminary injunction against the ATF pistol brace rule. GOA members submitted a record 85,000 plus comments opposing the ATF's universal registration check rule. They helped enact permitless carry in Nebraska and Florida. GOA secured victories in California, Illinois, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. Plus, they won 2 legal victories against the ATF's zero tolerance policy. GOA fought to overturn Joe Biden's ban on funding hunter education, shooting sports, and archery in schools. And with the constant attacks on our Second Amendment, we often ask ourselves, well, what can I do about it? Well, this is what you can do. You can become a member at gunowners.org and help us save the Second Amendment. So, obviously, Gun Owners of America is fighting for our gun rights. It looks like Ron DeSantis is fighting for our gun rights. Any more thoughts on that?
Well, that's all state by state, correct? At this point,
yeah.
It's all state by state.
A lot of the gun laws that are a real problem are state by state.
That's the problem, right? You're driving your car from here to Florida, and you got to jump through hoops half the time, right?
Well, that's another thing. Yeah, with respect to concealed carry, that's a whole bunch of different hoops you got to jump through. But even just if, let's say you have to move for your job or whatever from Florida to New York, you could, if you don't really know the laws, you could really put yourself in trouble.
End up being a criminal, right?
Yeah.
Just by driving across the state line.
Not only that, but just by what guns you bring. Like, let's say you have you have a gun that's a so-called New York assault weapon under the New York SAFE Act, but it's perfectly legal in Florida, and you bring it to New York, and somehow, somebody finds out or whatever, and now you're in trouble. And you didn't do anything different. You just
forbid you get stopped at a traffic stop or something, right?
Right.
That's certain, man, boy.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so that's
Well, he seems like at least he's paying attention to it. He's on the right
I think
track.
he's great.
That's good.
I think he's great, and I think people wanted him for president, but I think he's doing a fantastic job with Florida. Maybe someday he will be president. Who knows? But a couple things here. China may be inadvertently encouraging Canada to become the 51st United State. It seems like Trudeau's excessive tariffs on others are no longer being tolerated, and Canada may soon have to admit that it's not one of the big dogs and should realize that it doesn't have the bite to back up its bark. I got an article here, but first let's we got a photo there of Trudeau.
He's out.
Oh, yeah. He is.
Out.
Yeah.
He's gone as of yesterday, right? Yeah.
Well, here.
Oh, well.
Let me show you this article. I thought this article was really interesting. This is an article from MSN. It says China slaps tariffs on Canada for leverage against U.S. To me, it sounds like it's going to backfire. But China announced new steep tariffs on Canadian food products on Saturday. Now, the latest blow to the country as it simultaneously grapples with fierce trade negotiations with U.S. President Donald Trump. The tariffs announced by China's State Council Tariff Commission include 100% tax on canola oil, canola meal, and peas, along with a 25% tax on pork and seafood. The Chinese Tariff Commission said these are in response to Canada's 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles and 25% tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum that went into effect last fall. So, okay, I'll go, one more thing. In a separate statement commenting on the tariffs, China's Ministry of Commerce urged Canada to immediately correct its wrong practices, lift restrictive measures, and eliminate adverse effects. The retaliatory tariffs from China are slated to take effect on March 20. Any initial thoughts on that?
Well, everybody talks about, the tariff wars and stuff. I mean, I don't know enough about the specifics and I try not to take stands on this, but I mean, hopefully, all this going back and forth will hopefully make all these countries finally sit down and get together and say, look, what are we trying to do here? You know what I mean? Let's straighten this all out so we're not nitpicking at everybody and trying to make people pissed off or not. I mean, who knows what effects this is going to have? So I don't know. I'm going to sit around and wait. I don't really know. I don't have an opinion.
Well, I just heard that China's threatening, or Canada rather, is threatening to shut off power, electric power that they supply us in New York.
They just put a tariff on it today for
25%
New York,
more.
Three states, for three states.
25%, and if we don't pay it, they're threatening to shut it off. Now that's part of New York State anyway. I don't know, and several. How many states?
Three states.
Three states.
But if they shut it off, they're losing money.
Yeah.
So this is how stupid the beta boy is who just took over. Well, that's the problem with the U.S. We need to stop relying on other countries for electricity.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. And that's why they said, well, if we cut this off, then it keeps the U.S. from being able to export their oil to other countries. Okay, fine. Let's just close it up, take care of ourselves, and then see what happens.
And start nuclear up again here.
Big time.
China or Japan, who just came up with the cleanest nuclear.
All the Gen 4 reactors. There's a thorium reactors. There's a different salt reactors and stuff they can't blow up. They can't overheat. Nothing can happen.
So what are we doing?
Safe. And still in the United States, I think it takes 10 years to get the permits together before you can actually start construction. It's insane. The regulations are insane.
It's more government bureaucracy.
Right. Stuff that needs to be fixed.
No need for it.
Right.
Why should we be taking electricity from the soy boys up in Canada? Do our own thing. Why do we got to rely on other countries?
I don't like it either.
It's
for oil and stuff. Why are we getting oil from Saudi Arabia and other countries?
We have more oil here than anybody.
Yeah.
Well, again, everybody try to keep short-term prices together, I guess, because there are expenses involved in starting all this stuff up, you know what I mean, for the oil companies and for everybody else. But I think a long-term that's going to be the way to go. I think the whole Western Hemisphere should all unite and take care of ourselves and screw these other people. Yeah. Stop relying on Europe. Stop relying
NATO,
on the Middle East.
Get rid of
Stop
all
relying
that.
on China.
Isn't you got the Europeans saying they want to use nukes against Russia? Are you mentally ill? I mean, who elects these idiots? He just said, I think we're thinking about using nukes against Russia. That's real smart, pal.
Yeah. No, I know.
They're worried about Putin taking over Poland and stuff. I'm like, really? That's
He
what you
doesn't
think he
care
wants
about
to
the
do?
Polish.
All he wants is that port on the sea. That's what he wants. He wants that area that he can export stuff and import stuff without having to worry about stuff like you're talking about. Whoa, you do this, we're going to nuke you. Really? We're going to
It's
send
like a
nuke
bunch of little
Moscow.
kids in a playroom. That's my toy. No, that's mine. I'm going to blow you up. It's just stupid idiots.
No, I know it. Well, I wonder what's going to happen with Canada with respect to the Chinese tariffs. Now, if we put a tariff on Canada because we wanted it for two reasons. We wanted it to be equally taxed, right? We want, as Trump calls it, reciprocity, but also because they're letting a lot of illegals and drugs coming in through the border and not doing anything about it. So that was Trump's way of getting leverage and getting even again, getting equal. I like the idea. But the problem is, it seems like Canada doesn't want it to be equal. They still want to have more of a financial benefit. Now, China comes in and taxes them 100% on certain products. Now, Canada's going to feel the pain. Now, if Canada can't make it,
They're not going to make it.
what are they going to do? Are they going to become the 51st United States?
We don't want them. What do we want them for?
I don't know. I don't know if we want them or not.
We don't want them.
Yeah.
We don't want them. Let them all fade away or go somewhere else. We don't want you here. No, we don't need any more idiots in the state. We got enough stupid liberals here. We don't need any more from up above.
And just in defense, I know some really great Canadians, and there are some conservatives up there. And they got to deal with their idiot liberals just like we do.
We don't want them. We'll take the other guys and leave the liberals up there to fend for themselves.
Leave the liberals. That's fine. If we could do that, if we could divide and pull all the conservatives down into America.
People have moved here. A lot of people, right? Jordan Peterson moved
Yeah.
here. He can't live there anymore. It's
And they don't have to be conservative, just reasonable. just reasonable people. If they're
People that don't want their bank accounts frozen because they do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, stuff like that. You look at that and you're going, what kind of government is that? Like,
Yeah.
how can you think that that's okay? They're going to come into your personal world and freeze your bank account
Yep.
because you did something that they don't like. Better have a Second Amendment.
Didn't they say
they don't have
I
it.
know.
how much? They said we import or we export a lot of toilet paper to them.
Oh, boy.
I think we should shut that down
What are they going to wipe with?
their hand.
This is awful.
Hey,
I
it's a poopy glove.
gotta apologize to the folks watching. This is where the show goes off the rails.
That's a
No,
Middle
listen.
Eastern
If you
crap.
want to
I
play,
know.
you want to play baby games, stop the toilet paper.
Yeah.
I think 80% of their export toilet paper is to them. from
Really?
us.
Okay.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
So when their citizens can't wipe their butt, and then things get a little crazy in town.
Oh boy.
All right.
They're using leaves. They're using their maple leaves.
Well, the maple leaves aren't going to help their scratchy butt later.
Oh boy.
All right.
I want to say that there are a lot of good people in Canada. I've met them. They're good people. They're good conservatives up there. I certainly don't want to bash all Canadian people. Their government sucks, but and they got a good share of liberals just like we do. But
And plus, their exchange rate now is 69 cents.
Yeah.
yeah,
Used to be more than the American dollar, right? Like
Yeah.
10 years ago. So something's going on. Again, we need to look at the stuff. That's all. Let's just look at it. Everybody's afraid to look and see what's going on.
it's this ideology that takes root in all countries. It's this socialist, Marxist ideology. We call it leftism or we call it liberal, we call it whatever, but it's this mindset. It's in all these countries. It's in Europe, like running like wildfire, and it's in Canada. It's obviously in America. That's the problem. I mean, we're talking about, Canadians are bad or Chinese are bad or whoever's bad. It's not necessarily true. It's this ideology that's toxic.
That gets pushed, right?
Yeah.
That usually only affects a tiny amount of the population.
But it's affected a lot more now. And
Well, they make it a big thing. Somebody posted something this morning about a street in Iceland that had rainbows running down the thing. It was a trans person that I converse with occasionally. So I looked it up. There's 120 trans people in Iceland. That's recently, right? Before that, probably who knows how many. So it's like 0.0003% of the population might even identify as that.
Yeah.
And this is a big thing. Like, how is that something I need to be worried about on a daily basis? I don't understand. Or to use that as an example to make me a bad person because I'm not worried about it on a daily basis.
And it's pushed so much. Like you said, it's pushed in TV commercials,
Right.
in
I got
movies, in
nothing
television
against
shows.
anybody. But you do
No,
what
do whatever the hell
but
you want.
Don't make it mainstream because, first of all, we know how little kids get affected by this stuff. They see stuff on TV. They see stuff on video games. I mean, a big story last week was that Disney now has a movie out that's actually got a Christian character in it. First time in 20 years.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's been going on for the last 20 years? Nobody's been a Christian for 20 years.
Right. No, they were pushing a different agenda.
Right.
And it's like, why? Why are they, what's the real outcome of
Because
that?
it's not reflecting reality. It's reflecting a narrative, and they want to push the narrative, right?
Yeah.
But that's not.
Is it to
who
pull?
wants that?
Is it to pull people away from God and spirituality? Is it to divide the country? Is it to make people weaker? I don't understand. Like, what's the end goal here?
I think to make sure that nobody goes to movies anymore. All that stuff. Because the sales are down drastically.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and they still push it.
Right.
So that tells you that there's a much more important incentive to them by pushing this crap because they obviously don't care about losing money. They've lost. NFL, you name it. Movies, Hollywood has been tanking. The music industry, they lose money when they do this stuff, yet they continue to do it. So there's a stronger motivator.
They feel righteous. They feel that they're doing the right thing.
You think that's it? You think it's
Well,
just
they
righteousness?
must, or what else could it be? I don't know. Why
Or
else
is there something else?
I don't know. I think Anthony should look into it.
There's a strong motivator there that we don't really touch on a lot, and I try to figure out what that motivator
Well, and that's
is.
the kind of motivator that, like I try to get people to explain to me. Like the motivator running around thinking that Trump is destroying the Constitution. Okay, give me an example.
Yeah.
What's he doing? You're just saying that, It's like, Anybody can say anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
They say a lot. It's not true, but people believe it.
I got to get to one of our sponsors real quick. This is the Cali Key. Now, this device, the Cali Key, removes your AR from the definition of an assault weapon. Did you know that when so-called assault weapon ban lists are created, they exclude manually operated bolt-action firearms? So just by dropping the Cali Key into your direct impingement AR in place of your semi-automatic BCG, you will have a bolt-action rifle that falls outside the definition of so-called assault weapon. That's all you need to do. So give the Cali Key a look, because with it, you could retain all your rifle's features, avoid registration complications, revive your black rifle sales if you're an FFL, regain the ability to do private party transfers, legally transport across hostile jurisdictions, hunt with your AR in areas like Pennsylvania, and enhance long-range precision and quieter suppressed shooting. Cali Key has state-specific expert attorney opinions on its website and supports grassroots Second Amendment organizations with its sales. Cali Key's mission is to empower customers and claw back our civil liberties. So go to calikey.com and use the discount code LOADED. All right, so we're never going to figure out the liberal ideology, that whole mindset. I don't think we're ever really going to understand it. But I can tell you one thing, it does hurt people. It hurts society in a way that I don't think we should even be allowing for a minute. And an example is, remember the Los Angeles mayor, Karen Bass, who said she was aware that massive fires could break out and that she would make sure that she was there to address any issues. But then went on vacation right before thousands of homes were destroyed in one of the worst fires in history. We have a photo of our girl there. Well, she's recently been found to have been deleting her emails during that time. Here's an article
Hillary.
by Breitbart. The headline is LA Times says Mayor Karen Bass is deleting her text messages. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is deleting her text messages, defeating efforts by media organizations to obtain them as government communications subject to public records requests, according to Los Angeles Times. Times reported that it had been unable to obtain Bass's text messages concerning her overseas trip to Ghana, which is where she went during the fire, right before the fires. Right before during which the LA fires broke out, because they were automatically deleted and the city had not retained them. She and her Times reported she and her office have said she was in constant communication during that period, but it's impossible to know exactly what she was communicating because her messages were not saved, according to a city lawyer. Her phone is a quote. Her phone is set not to save text messages, said the lawyer. Whose phone doesn't save their text? Why would you don't set your? Do you ever do that? Set your phone to not save your messages?
No.
I mean, after a while, maybe you'll go through and delete. But so
I don't even know how to.
I don't even know how to do it. So
Is there even a feature that does that?
Do you need an outside app to do it? I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't think you can. There's a switch on your phone that deletes messages automatically.
It sounds to me like she made an effort to delete them. So anyway, her phone is set to not save text messages. Michelson said that, and this is the lawyer David Michelson saying this. He said that there is no requirement that a city official employee save text messages, despite the fact that the city's own document retention policies dictate that most records should be kept for at least 2 years. So explain that to me. Go ahead.
What's her personal phone they're talking about? I don't know how that is. That what we're talking about?
Is it a personal phone or is it a government phone? I don't know.
Save all your text messages?
I think she took a page out of Hillary's book.
But with all this, her and the fire chief were going at it back and forth. And as far as I remember, the fire chief resigned,
Right.
Because this woman, what's her name?
She tried to put it on the fire.
She tried blaming it on the fire. Right, exactly. So What a
How did he start the fire?
And hadn't they defunded the fire department out there? I heard that today on something that they found. They found out that the fire department had been defunded, so they were not staffed like they should have been. All kinds of crazy stuff.
right. So the fire department says we don't have enough money. That's why this thing failed. That's why we had such failures. And then the mayor must have had some kind of conflict with the fire chief for saying that. And now all of a sudden the fire chief resigns. And the mayor's still mayor, but she's deleting her text messages. So
Nice people.
good job.
Just think they're going to put a whole stamp on that state when Kamala becomes governor.
Oh boy,
That'll be it for that state.
let's get the
ya.
Sawzall.
See ya.
You know, it's almost we almost laugh about that sort of thing and say, "Oh, good. Well, that's what you voted for." But I don't know. That
But
stuff.
it's not good when the biggest state in the country goes down the toilet
Yeah,
in a variety
exactly.
of ways. It can't be good for anything,
It's
long
already
or short term.
it's in the toilet.
It's terrible.
Just now, you just got to flush it, and she'll definitely flush it.
I'm getting a lot of. Recently, wrote an article on for AmmoLand about firearm background checks, and I'm getting a lot of feedback on this article. There's a lot of debate whether firearm background checks are good or bad, and a lot of people, even some gun owners, are saying, "Yeah, well, we still need background checks." But I don't think people realize that the background check system is so bad.
It's flawed, right?
It's flawed that it's putting so many people out who shouldn't be put out, who should be able to get their gun, but the false positive rate is so high it's just been a debate. So I just want to encourage people, if you're interested in that article, go to ammoland.com and search my name, Dan Wass, and you'll see that article. But just one of those things that we talk about on the show. Go ahead.
They just search your name there.
Yeah, I have a author page at AmmoLand.
Did you change your
You just
profile
ser-
picture last week?
I use the same profile picture for a lot of stuff.
You were in Florida for a while, though.
Yeah, well,
Pictures Speedo?
what the hell is wrong with him? Let's go to break.
I'm going there and checking right now.
The Cali Key removes your AR from the definition of an assault weapon. It lets you keep your rifle with all its features, avoid registration hassles, and transport in hostile jurisdictions. The Cali Key also lets you hunt in jurisdictions like Pennsylvania and enhances long-range precision shooting. Cali Key's expert legal opinions empower informed decisions, and sales help grassroots Second Amendment organizations. Cali Key is your tool to keep and equip your AR, empower yourself, and defend your civil rights.
Our founding fathers saw them coming over 200 years away. That's why they wrote the Second Amendment. Join us in the fight to preserve your gun rights and stop unconstitutional gun control. Gun Owners of America is the country's only no-compromise gun rights organization. Not only do we inform and educate, but we bring the fight to court and win. Your God-given right to keep and bear arms is our top priority. Become a member today and help us take back America. Join us at gunowners.org. All right. It's become clear that a large portion of Democrats have been brainwashed, and their radicalism is becoming a threat to everyone. In this next clip, we watch as desperate Democrats lash out in the most destructive way since they burned down cities in the year 2020, with encouragement from Democrats in Congress, of course. So now they're taking their anger out on Tesla and putting the lives of more people at risk, all under the guise of saving democracy. Another fallacy they've been indoctrinated to believe.
What is the latest on these Tesla attacks?
Well, Nicole, it comes as employees around the world at Tesla dealerships, they are on high alert because of Tesla founder Elon Musk. Many dealerships, they have been picketed in recent weeks and even targeted in violent attacks. The latest violence in Tigard, Oregon, just outside Portland, where police are investigating vandalism involving gunfire on Wednesday. At least 7 bullets tore into the dealership in an overnight attack, damaging 3 cars and shattering windows. No one was injured, and so far, no arrests. Now, in another incident, though, Police have a 41-year-old man in custody in Oregon. He allegedly targeted a dealership in Salem, causing major damage with Molotov cocktails in January, and then opening fire with an AR-15 style rifle last month. Oregon has been a hotbed for protest action against Elon Musk and Tesla, and there's a growing grassroots movement called Tesla Takedown. Lawful picketers are condemning any violence and vandalism.
You have a right to protest. We who served in the military said to give you that right, but not to up and destroy and shoot and burn and whatever. No, go protest. Stand up, scream and holler, get your bullhorn out, go do your thing, but no violence.
Now, protest actions in Boston and across the country in recent weeks have been largely peaceful, but there have been multiple arrests for vandalism and disorderly conduct.
So what do we call that? Scumbaggetry.
Scumbaggetry. That's
You just
yeah.
what is wrong with these moron liberals? You're mad at a guy for saving money.
Oh, it's not even that. I mean, they.
I know.
First of all, they can't really do anything about what's going on. This is my one big beef. It's like, okay, you want to protest, you want to have an opinion, that's fine. But stuff like that, this is exactly what is not supposed to happen, right? It's exactly what they, if they had to say anything about it, would have to admit that that's not accepted behavior.
Well, they certainly wouldn't accept it if it was Republicans doing
Well, they
it.
wouldn't accept it if it was there. What if let's go against all these people and start shooting at their houses
Yeah.
and breaking their windows and stuff.
Let's go, right.
Same with the riots. And you know, when they burned down all the buildings, it's like, what are you talking about? How is that acceptable? What country do you think you live in? It's insane.
That's like the morons with the, oh, let's not shop at Walmart or Target. Okay, what happens when those stores shut down? Where are you shopping, dummy? Where are you going to get food? Where are you going to go if Walmart, Target, CVS, or whoever other companies that you morons are picketing and not spending money at, Amazon, where are you going? What?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's they
I just don't get it.
They crap where they eat. They destroy their own infrastructure,
But I
their
think-
own society.
I think looking at that and thinking that it's for some reason justified is the reason that they fear what the right does, because they think that we're going to do stuff like that.
Well, that's
when
the
we
projection.
would never do anything like that.
That's the projection
If Trump
element.
told us to all go out and shoot at car dealerships, how many people would do that?
That's the projection element, and it's such a tell, because when they say, well, you're going to do this, Trump's going to do that, what they're really doing is they're envisioning that stuff themselves. So they have to actually think of that stuff themselves, and they're afraid that somebody else would do it because they know that they would.
It's terrible. It's basic cognitive nonsense, and they can't see it because they're inside of it, and they won't look at anything else. There's so many times this week I put up some stuff and said, look at this and listen to these guys, what they have to say, and tell me what you think about it. Well, it's just a bunch of guys sitting around saying stuff. Anybody can do that. I go, well, that's kind of my point, but these guys actually know what are super successful people who have done all kinds of things and who are doing all kinds of things, and they're not telling you what to do. They're telling you what they're doing. So you can look at that as an example of how your attitude makes a big difference on how you approach things. Look at the reality. How do we do something good here? How do we all prosper? Let's do that stuff. I mean, years ago, people are making their enemies were the people you used to look up to, right? They used to be role models, and now they're the enemy all of a sudden.
Well, that anger is about something else. The anger that they have right now and the destructive nature that they're doing is about something else. There's something else there. There's an internal component that's driving these people to do irrational things. And I really think that we talk about brainwashing and we kind of joke around about brainwashing, but I really do think that over the course of the last 10, maybe even 20 years, mainstream media did a number on some people. The people who watched the news and said, well, I believe it because it's on the news. and didn't question it. They would take in this stuff, constantly taking in all these different ideas and let them take root in their subconscious mind as fact and build their thought process and build their whole ideology off of things that just were destructive to human nature and society.
Well, and I guarantee you that 99% of those people right there are all employees. They're not business people out there protesting.
No idea how difficult it is to start a company, and no respect or appreciation for the value that Elon Musk has created.
Right.
No respect for value of anything. They're willing to burn it down and destroy someone else's hard work and someone. It's just
talk about anti-constitution. It's like everything that's given them, everything they have, they want to tear down. It's so amazing. I mean, even if they didn't have a job at Tesla, somebody has it. People have jobs. It generates money. It generates tax dollars. And all that stuff. Well, again, like somebody said, listening to Brian Kilmeade this morning, and he was saying, Trump is trying to put together an economy moving forward that we can all prosper in. You know what I mean? It's not just about the rich people, because the rich people need customers. People have to have money to spend on stuff. So to think that it's all about just, helping your rich cronies out and stuff is so short-sighted. It doesn't make any sense.
They're the ones that run the world. That's what these people don't get.
Right.
I don't know what the hell they're teaching in high school, college, but man, it ain't economics.
Oh, but that's got a lot. There's a lot.
There is nothing going on.
When Obama was in, and again, how we've talked about how racial tensions increased drastically during that period of time. I can remember Scott Adams saying over and over and over again. He said, "You want to make people's lives better. You want to make them more prosperous and stuff. Why would you make the people that have all the money the bad guy? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't
make any sense.
Because if Walmart, Target, CVS, and everybody else uproots themselves out of your community,
you got well, they've done that.
Right.
Portland.
Where are you going?
Minneapolis.
You're gonna have to drive an hour or more. And even if that store closed, you're driving 2 hours now for food.
Well, the thing is that the idiots who went and did the rioting and all that stuff during 2020 and burned these buildings down, I forget if it was a Rite Aid or CVS or something or a AutoZone.
Police department.
They pull out, and then the people go, "Well, where are we going to buy our stuff?"
Too bad.
This is what you created.
Hurting your neighbors, right? Let's
go loot your neighbor's house. Get some brake pads for it. Huh?
They have their P's mixed up. They're confusing protests with persuasion. People that get things done, persuade people to go along with them, convince them to give them money, all this kind of stuff that goes on. The protesters are just about tearing stuff down. That's all they can do. All they can do.
That's all they can do.
What do you end up with? Just what we're talking about. You end up with less, always.
And then, Amazon can figure out who's been protesting them. Stop delivering to that area. Here you go. Oh, I need a bed delivered. How about no?
Yeah, sorry.
Just shut them down.
Yeah.
Shut the area code down. Say, listen, they haven't ordered this area hasn't ordered.
And our drivers have been robbed.
Our drivers have been robbed.
If you're a
So
driver,
now
imagine that.
I'm going to shut
Delivering
down
at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night.
I'm going to shut this section down.
Right.
And they're not getting any deliveries.
I would.
Same with Walmart. Shut them down. Walmart can do the same thing you're doing to them.
And not only that, but people, they drop off the product, they drop off the packages.
People steal it.
And people steal it off the front porches, too. So I would do the same thing. Yeah, you get a lot of that stuff in one area. I mean, for the best interest of the company.
Pull it out.
Pull it out.
Well, that's the thing. See, nobody ever
That's
looks
what
at
that's what
these
their
people
father
are not
should've
looking
did.
at the best interest of the company because they hate the company automatically. They don't look at all the good that the company does, all the goods and services they supply to them and their neighbors. I always ask people, you're going to give up your car, you're going to give up your phone, you're going to give up your electricity, you're going to give up your computer, you're going to give all that stuff up because of your ideals about what you think is right or wrong based on some belief that's been programmed into your head over the last 20
And
years.
the whole ideology. Oh, hey, Musk is going to steal my Social Security number. He already has it, stupid.
What the hell is it going to do with your sales?
Like he needs a loan
Right,
in your name.
You make $30,000 a year.
Everybody has your Social Security number.
Everybody has it. If they wanted it, listen, they can get it.
Stupid.
He's not. Man, the stupidity in this country is really humongous.
Well, I heard a podcast yesterday where they had an AI voice imitating a husband. He was calling his wife on the phone, and it wasn't him. but he was calling to ask for the last 4 numbers of her social because he already had the other numbers. There's easy ways, depending on where you live, when you're born, you can pretty much estimate the first 5 numbers of the social, right?
Oh.
So he needed the last, and you could hear the guy's voice. Okay, honey, I really screwed up. I forgot the last 4 numbers, and I'm trying to get this processed with this credit card and blah, blah, blah. You just give me those numbers. And of course she does. And they were making an example of, okay, here's some smart crook using AI to steal Social Security.
Oh, you mean he stole the husband's voice?
Yes.
That's the problem I have with AI. I said this a long time ago. AI is going to be the downfall of everything. Because
Can't trust anything.
if I can take your voice
Yeah.
and call one of your creditors and say, oh, I need a loan for a house, can I get the application going?
Yeah.
Boom. I got an application in Dan's.
Well, that's why you hear about these identity thefts and stuff, and people are getting loans and buying cars and doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Let me get to one of our sponsors real quick. LifeWave is a non-transdermal patch that allows your body to produce its own natural pharmacy through light energy. Now, the X39 patch tells your body to emit heat in the form of light, which reflects back into your body, elevating a certain copper peptide. Now, this peptide activates your stem cells, which are the only type that can move throughout your body to heal inflammation. LifeWave offers an affordable membership and has a history of wellness that spans 20 years. It's been around since 2004 to help organizations like SEAL Team 6 and the Olympic swim team stay awake and alert. Now, today, these non-addictive patches are used by thousands of athletes and military professionals, and LifeWave is available in over 80 countries, giving millions the opportunity of maximum wellness. So for more information or testimonials, patents, and studies, go to justpatch.biz. All right, well, that's... Yeah, I mean, good conversation. To sum that conversation up, I don't understand how they can be so destructive. It's like biting the hand that feeds you, right? Is that the?
Well, plus I think one of the main themes is like all this stuff that we see so many people arguing about. They think that them doing that is going to have some kind of effect on something. But when in reality, all it does is it hurts their neighbors more than anybody else. It's not really. You're not going to change Elon Musk's mind about whatever by doing that kind of stuff. It just makes you feel good. Again, standing on the street. This is how I feel. Okay.
Yeah. And you know what else is they've gone so far now, and they're not getting any satisfaction that now they're resorting to even more extreme, like killing people and killing
Well, in Louisiana, they had one of those smart Tesla trucks driving down the street, and they're throwing beads and stuff at the truck because they don't like Elon. This is someone's personal vehicle.
No, it's your neighbor.
I mean,
It's your
and then there's a
grandmother
guy
driving a Tesla.
There was a guy in New York City who was driving down the street, and some guy was kicking it and punching the windows. It's just psycho liberals. I would have got out and pummeled them. I'm sorry. If you kick I'm going to get out and beat you up. I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to slam you on your head.
Dane.
Like, seriously. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? This is someone's personal car that they paid over $100,000 for. And you're kicking the windows and punching it and screaming like a psycho.
Because you don't like the
You don't
manufacturer.
like the guy. Yeah. Exactly. These are the people that are roaming the streets.
Like you're a Ford guy. You like your Mustangs. I like my Corvette. So we're Ford Chevy. But we don't.
I don't go to your house and flatten the tires on your bathtub.
It's unbelievable how people can do that. But the mindset that you have to have to be willing to destroy somebody else's property.
It's juvenile. Isn't it? It's out of control kids throwing temper tantrums. That's what
I think it takes a lot of
what do you do when
balls
your
to
kid
kick
throws a
someone's
temper
car.
tantrum? Time out.
Time out, yeah.
Because, that guy is going to kick the wrong car, and someone's going to get out and probably kill him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tire iron to the head.
If you're in the wrong city and that person, they have a gun on them, say their family's in the car, you're punching the window.
That's
He
a
has
threat to
every
your
right
life.
to shoot you through the window.
Well, it's a threat. You're
threatening the family.
Yeah.
If you're standing in front of the car and you're punching the window,
It's like they have no sense
they
of
don't care.
consequence.
They're mental.
They don't have any sense of value, and they don't have any sense of the potential consequence.
And we've encouraged that, right? Steal $1,000 worth of stuff in California, and you don't go to jail.
consequence.
Let the people get away with stuff, and they get emboldened, I think. And that, I don't have the answer, but it doesn't seem that the way we've been doing it for the last 15 years or so has helped anybody.
It's good. It's good conversation, and maybe we need a 3-hour podcast just to really unfold that topic, because it's really interesting to me. The psychology of all this is really interesting to me.
We need to get somebody on here.
I think we need to get a crazy liberal in
yes,
here.
Yes, that's what I think.
And try to...
Well, just try to get
Not
some
even try to
answers out
change
of
him. Just try to get an answer.
No,
out of
try
the
to
dummy.
understand them.
You
Yeah,
have to be crazy. I know a lot of people that are super smart people that are liberals right now, but I can't get them to give me a straight answer.
Because they don't
as
have
smart
one.
as they are and as articulate as they are, they will always resort. Well, some old
calling.
person recently who just said today to me, it's sad that you can't respond on social media and not sound like a male genital organ. You know what I mean? And I'm like, show me. Show me where I have done that. That's one more thing that you believe to be true that is nowhere in the universe.
So is the interpretation that he's got in his
Absolutely.
own head,
Right.
he's blaming it
You
on
don't
you.
agree with me, therefore you're this. Wait a minute. When did that become the rule? That's why, again, individuals are innocent until proven guilty, and that applies to everything. But people, there's so much assumption going on. There's so much labeling, and it's just you can't beat your way through it half the time. It's just insane.
And then there's a sense of control and how they want to control things to make it the way they want it.
And they don't even know how to do that.
Well, they don't. Well, and so this brings me to our next story here by Breitbart. Missouri just won a $24 billion judgment against China in a coronavirus lawsuit. So on Friday, after a federal judge ruled in favor of the Show Me State's case, accusing the Chinese Communist Party of hoarding protective supplies during the Wuhan virus pandemic. Friday's win comes 5 years after former Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt filed the initial suit against China in 2020, accusing the communist regime of obstructing the production, purchase, and export of critical medical equipment, including PPE, during the pandemic. This is a landmark victory for Missouri and the United States in the fight to hold China accountable. Another thing, holding them accountable is important for unleashing the COVID-19 on the world. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey said in a statement. So, China refused to show up in court. It goes on to say, but that doesn't mean that they get away with causing untold suffering and economic devastation, Bailey said. We intend to collect every penny by seizing Chinese-owned assets, including Missouri farmland. What are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We need a complete
I
investigation
don't think
on
any
this stuff.
foreign country should own land in our country.
Right, well, that's...
Farmland they should not own farmland.
But to the COVID thing, they need to have a full investigation, get Fauci in the stand, let him perjure himself and throw his butt in jail.
Yeah,
He's a criminal.
That's what I say. Like politicians, doctors, none of these guys ever get prosecuted. Only if you're on the other side. Fauci will never see a day in jail.
It's just so insane that people believe all kinds. I said this to somebody the other day. I said, boy, if that was an insurrection, that was the worst planned insurrection I've ever seen, because nothing could have happened, could come out of it anyway, on January 6th. Nothing could have happened long term. So what are you talking about? People are all out of their minds about stuff.
You know what the frustrating part of that is? Calling that an insurrection and not calling these college campus riots insurrection. So here's another story, New York Post. President Trump keeps up the crackdown on campus anti-Semites. The speed and scope of actions coming from Donald Trump's White House remains breathtaking. Among other big moves, Friday, the 46th day of his administration, the president said it was the administration's announcement that it was canceling $400 million in federal grants and contracts given to Columbia University over its failure to address rampant anti-Semitism on its Manhattan campus. It followed by one day a State Department announcing that it had yanked the first visa of a foreign student linked to Hamas supporting disruptions. Although the student and the school involved were not identified, it certainly the twin developments are sending shockwaves through colleges and universities across the nation. Any comment here?
Well, yeah, perfect example of the Holly Who Ken and Barbie scenario. One of his idiot fans says something. Well, the fascists are on the campuses, anti-Semitic against Jews. I go, dummy. Columbia is a liberal school. This is how stupid they are. They open their mouth and they don't even read, or they don't. I don't even think he knows that that's going on anywhere. He just came up with it, and he comes up with all this stuff, and all these colleges that are doing anti-Semite stuff, and they're like, "Oh, it's all Trump." I go, "What the hell are you talking about, dude?" Nothing. I go, "Bro, you need to go watch some real news because those are not conservatives doing that.
No, of course
those
not.
are liberal colleges.
Of course not. Right, of course. This article says the move lowers the boom on the campus radicals, including professors who are supporting the murderous terrorist organization and the feckless university administrators who have done little or nothing to stop them. Reports indicate that grant cancellations for other schools will soon follow, with officials from the Department of Education saying recently that they were conducting investigations of 5 universities where repeated anti-Semitic harassment incidents were reported.
But they were, see, that's the thing. They were allowed to do it for the last 4 years under Biden. Of
course.
And that's what I told the stupid moron. I was like, you guys sat back and let everything fall apart and didn't say a damn word. Yeah. But you're worried about people calling, "Oh, let's go Brandon." Listen, that's nothing compared to being called a Nazi.
Yeah.
Whatever. Or else
White
you're calling white
supremacist.
supremacist.
That's the best.
You never even met a white supremacist. Right. Shut up, stupid. You live in a beta boy town in Maryland.
Yeah, and you're shouting at people calling them white supremacists.
Yeah, exactly. Like, remember the video of the guy doing the crap?
Danny, how much time we got? I got one more story. We got any time here?
What crap? What are we talking about?
Only 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes. I got to make this quick. High school runner was attacked with a baton during a relay race, leaving her with a concussion and possible skull fracture. No apology from the runner or the coach. If you watch in the video, you'll see that the violent thug girl was being passed, and it appears she didn't like that. So she started hitting the girl who passed her over the head with a baton. Can we see that clip real quick? Watch this. So here, she starts getting passed by this girl, and she whacks her. Gives her a concussion, skull fracture. All right, so now, well, that's exactly what happened. She didn't want her to win. So now, in typical fashion, this worthless piece of dirt who did the hitting had no compassion for the girl who she gave a concussion and fractured her skull. Rather, she got on camera feeling sorry for herself because people were calling her out for the dirt bag that she is.
She didn't get arrested?
No, I don't. As far as I know, she's here crying.
You're physically hurt, but you're not thinking of my mental, right? They're going off of one angle. A couple times hitting her, my baton got stuck behind her back like this, and it rolled up her back. Yeah, sure. I lost my balance, and when I pumped my arms again, she got hit. I know my intentions, and I would never hit somebody on purpose. They're assuming my character, calling me ghetto, racist slurs, death threats, all of this just because of a 9-second video.
She should be
Girl,
banned.
you need to stop.
She should be banned.
How does she not get arrested for
I don't know what the status is on that. All I know is I saw the video.
Unbelievable.
Danny's
That's
wrapping us up. Let's end it on that. Thanks for watching The Loaded Mic on all our networks. You can catch the podcast on any podcast platform. Thank you for being here. And my name's Dan Wasson. Remember that the Second Amendment is not a privilege. It's your right.